About a month ago, the latest Percy Jackson book, The Wrath of the Triple Goddess, released where, hint hint, Percy's sword got a new ability. So I thought I'd make this video where I'll cover all the notable weapons in Percy Jackson and the Heroes of Olympus series, including some items that might not be seen as weapons, but that can and definitely have been used as weapons. Anyways, comment your favorite weapon down below, and be sure to tell me if I forgot to include anything. But without further ado, let's get into it. So first up, we've got Percy's shield, and I can imagine what a lot of you might be asking, hold on, since when does Percy have a shield? Don't worry, I forgot to, but yeah, he has a shield, or at least he did for a little while. Tyson gave Percy a celestial bronze shield, I'm pretty sure in the Sea of Monsters, which had the ability to collapse into a wristwatch, but unfortunately Percy lost it in the Battle of the Labyrinth when he threw it at a monster that was chasing him, which is probably why most of us forgot this thing ever existed. Up next is Luke Castellan's backbiter, which is a half steel, half celestial bronze sword, so I guess we could say that its special ability is that it can hurt monsters and mortals. It's also cool to note that the half and half metals serve as symbolism of Luke's mixed loyalties. Thalia's shield Aegis is really cool, an upgraded version of Percy's shield, you could say, in that it has an imprint of Medusa's head on it that spreads an aura of fear to her enemies in battle. Alongside her shield, Thalia also has a magic spear that can be disguised as a mace canister. She also uses the spear sometimes to channel her lightning powers, which she did to blast Percy during their little scuffle in the Titan's Curse. And fourth on the list, we have Leo Valdez's magic tool belt, which does exactly what the name suggests. He can summon any common workshop item at any time, and the things he puts into the tool belt to store become weightless and can be brought out at any time. And I don't think there's a limit to how many things he can put in it, so it seems to have infinite storage as well. Nico D'Angelo's sword is as consistently cool as his powers, and as the character is. It's a Stygian iron blade that was forged in the River Styx, and unlike any other weapon, his sword can absorb the essence of the monsters it kills, which means that any monster it kills won't go back to Tartarus and regenerate, which makes Nico's fights so much more satisfying knowing that he's permanently dealing with the monsters he fights. Nico also uses the sword occasionally to help him summon skeletons or ghosts or spirits. Next up, we've got Catoptris, which is Piper's dagger from the Heroes of Olympus. It's pretty much just a regular celestial bronze dagger, but it sometimes shows Piper useful visions of the future, usually pretty bad stuff like her and her friends getting eaten by giants. It's also a fun fact that the dagger used to belong to Helen of Troy before Piper found it. Speaking of daggers, another character handy with a dagger is the one and only Annabeth Chase, but we're not actually here to talk about her dagger since it has no abilities at all. Her Yankees cap, however, which was a gift from her mother Athena, lets the person wearing it turn invisible. Although I think Percy said that wearing it feels like a bunch of ants are crawling on your skin, but oh well, I think that's a fine trade-off for invisibility. Coming up next, we have two spears, the first of which is Clarisse's celestial bronze spear, which has some electricity powers. Unlike Thalia, whose lightning powers come from herself, Clarisse's spear actually has the lightning built into it. The other spear would be Jason Grace's Imperial Gold spear/sword. His weapon can transform into a coin, and when he flips it, it will either turn into a spear or a sword, depending on if it landed on heads or tails. And like Thalia's spear, Jason's can also channel his lightning powers. Grover's panpipes are probably the most versatile of all the weapons, and they're surprisingly pretty powerful. Depending on what song he plays, the pipes can have a different effect. For example, Grover can use them to calm down people or monsters, or he can use them to communicate and summon animals. He can use them to grow and control plants, which we've seen him use to restrain certain monsters and titans like Hyperion. And lastly, he can even use them as a healing spell. And last but certainly not least, we have Percy Jackson's celestial bronze sword, Riptide. It can be disguised as a pen, and when not in use, it always returns to his pocket if lost. Though it never seems to return quick enough in the books if we read the last book. Percy doesn't usually lose his sword because of how good he is at sword fighting, but I will admit he lost it more than usual in the latest book. Speaking of the latest book, Riptide's new power was revealed to be that the sword can write glowing messages that mortals can't see on various surfaces, which comes in handy, but the messages only last for a couple of hours. And yeah, that's pretty much it, at least for Percy Jackson and the Heroes of Olympus. There are a lot of other really powerful weapons. In fact, the most powerful weapons are actually in, I think, Magnus Chase. That's besides the point. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you all next time.